Ukrainian drones have struck a missile arsenal and an oil pumping station in Russia's Tver region. Ukrainian Security Service, known as SBU, and Special Operations Forces reported in a joint statement on Wednesday, January 29. During the attack, the Russian Defense Ministry's 23rd missile arsenal in Tver region was struck. The drones hit the facility itself and 3 buildings of the military unit. Local residents reported hearing more than 20 explosions. According to social media reports, residents were evacuated in the area. In another operation in Tver region on the same day, Ukraine's SBU and the Special Operations Forces hit the Andriapol oil pumping station, which is an important component of the Baltic pipeline system, too, Ukrainian military stated. As a result of the drone attack at the station, the filtration pumping platform and tanks with additives were damaged, an oil spill and fire occurred. According to the report, following the attack, Russians had to suspend the main pipeline that supplies oil to the US Teluga terminal in the Leningrad region. Earlier, this month, Ukrainian drones struck a fuel depot of Engels, 2 airfield in Russia's Saratov region as well as an oil refinery in Russia's Ryazan region, forcing suspension of the latter's work.
In response to an uptick in Ukrainian missile and drone strikes, Russia is rapidly adopting new air defense measures to protect critical infrastructure and domestic sites, Forbes reports. This shift reflects the growing strain on Russia's air defense systems, which are being stretched thin by the ongoing war. Ukraine has intensified its strikes on Russian targets using a combination of advanced Western-supplied missiles and domestically produced drones. The approval to use American ATACMS and British Storm Shadow missiles has significantly increased the range and precision of Ukrainian attacks. This escalation, a reaction to Russia's continued bombardment of Ukrainian civilian infrastructure, has forced Russia to reassess its air defense strategy. While Russia's air defense network includes modern systems like the S-500 Prometheus and S-400 Triumph, it relies heavily on upgraded Soviet-era technology such as the S-300 series. These systems employ a layered strategy, providing overlapping coverage to counter various airborne threats. However, the demands of covering a 600-mile front and sustaining heavy losses, 274 systems were reportedly destroyed, according to orexpionkop.com, have left Russia struggling to maintain adequate coverage. Additionally, Ukraine's evolving drone and missile technologies are outpacing Russia's older systems. Military technology is a constant cat-and-mouse game, Forbes defense correspondent Vikram Mittal explains, with Ukraine's innovations outmatching many of Russia's Soviet-era defenses. To address these challenges, Russia is employing unconventional measures alongside its traditional defenses. Safira drone suppression system, developed by the State Defense Cooperation Rostec. This system aims to detect and neutralize Ukrainian drones over civilian areas. North Korean air defense systems. Reports suggest Russia may be using systems similar to the Tor missile platform provided by North Korea. However, their deployment and effectiveness remain unclear. Anti-drone nets. Critical facilities have begun installing large metal nets designed to ensnare incoming drones and prevent them from reaching their target. While a temporary deterrent, Ukraine is reportedly developing methods to counter these measures. Mittal emphasizes that Russia's new approaches are stopgap measures in the face of an intensifying Ukrainian offensive. Air defense has become a top priority for Russia, but the pressure from Ukraine's growing arsenal of long-range missiles and advanced drones shows no sign of easing, he notes. As both sides continue to innovate and escalate, Russia faces an uphill battle to protect its domestic infrastructure while sustaining its war effort. Whether these new air defense strategies will prove effective remains uncertain as Ukraine continues to test the limits of Russian defenses with its expanding capabilities. The Russian army is now trying to break through to Borova, but the Ukrainian armed forces are holding the line and not allowing the enemy to penetrate. ISW analysts claim that the Russian Armed Forces Command is sending fake reports to the Kremlin regarding successes on this section of the front. Thus, Russian war correspondents claim that Putin's army has advanced in the southern part of Novogorovka and to the west of Nadezhda. However, ISW has not found any visual confirmation. Moreover, during January the 26th and 27th, enemy troops carried out more than one offensive operation to the east, northeast and southeast of Borova. Z bloggers complain about the Russian military command, which constantly lies about the successes of the Russian armed forces on the battlefield in the direction of Borova. So, the day before, Russian war correspondents refuted the statements of the Russian Defense Ministry that Putin's army was already in Novogorovka. As it turned out, Putin's soldiers simply filmed a fake video about the capture of the settlement. Russian military correspondents have noted how the Russian MOD's false claims of capture negatively impact ongoing Russian offensive operations in the area, as Russian commanders who believe that Russian forces have captured a town do not issue orders to strike the town, leaving the occupiers on the ground without adequate fire support during their attacks. Z publics also recalled the events around Belogorovka when the command of the Russian armed forces reported the capture of a settlement that had been under the Ukrainian armed forces all this time. Only in November 2024, the Russian Ministry of Defense dismissed the commanders who were responsible for the offensive in the Belgorovka area. Let us recall that a scandal erupted in the Russian Federation against the backdrop of a fake video from the Russian armed forces about the capture of Novogorovka. Russian troops continue to suffer huge losses in their attempts to capture a tiny village in the Luhansk region whose population is only 36 people. To hide the real state of affairs, the Russian Defense Ministry filmed a staged video, but it has raised doubts even among Z propagandists, the media writes. On January the 20th, the Russian Ministry of Defense reported that the village was allegedly completely under the control of Russian troops. However, the situation at the front and comments from Russian sources indicate otherwise. According to the Ukrainian project Deep State, Novogorovka remains under the control of the Ukrainian armed forces and the contact line runs along the edge of the village. Active military actions continue in the area, as reported by the Ukrainian military authorities of the Luhansk region. Despite the insignificant strategic importance of the village, the Russian command is trying to urgently take it, probably to confirm previously made statements.